Okay, all right. Good evening and welcome. This is the regular meeting of the Suffern Central School District Board of Education for Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. We are recalling the meeting to order. May the record reflect that all board members are present except for Tom Donnelly and Daryl Frazier. And we are fortunate enough to have our two new ex officio student board members with us tonight. Mr. Robert, also known as Robbie Schwartz, and Ms. Joy Yin. Welcome. We're so happy you could be with us. And we are going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first matter is 1.07, which is the public hearing on the proposed 2025-2026 Code of Conduct. Is there anyone who's here from the public who is here just to speak on the proposed Code of Conduct? Okay, it looks like no one is here for that, so we are going to close that portion of the meeting and we are going to move to our student board member report.
And so, before we start with the student board member report, we have to make them official here. I just want to welcome Robbie Schwartz and Joy Yin to be here as ex officio members of the Board of Education. The Suffern Central School District is thrilled that you are dedicating yourself to this service. It's very important, because you end up being the voice for all 4,000 students in the Suffern Central School District. You're representing them. It doesn't mean that you have to meet with all 4,000 students, but you are the voice and you're the opportunity for the Board of Education and the senior administration to hear what's on the minds of our students. And so we really look forward to this first year of having two, not just one, but two ex officio members of the Board of Education. And ex officio simply means that you are board members, but you are non-voting board members. Wouldn't be right to have you be able to vote because you would have to be elected by the constituents of the Suffern Central School District. So that's why you get to sit up here at the table. You get to offer opinions. You may be asked questions from time to time from board members to get student input, and it's to be a part of the process. So we're thrilled to have you on board here. We are not getting rid of the student reports that our Board of Education really values. So we are going to continue with that tradition. But before we do that, because you are going to be ex officio board members, we are going to swear you in. So I'm going to ask our district clerk, Ms. Heather Campbell, to go ahead and lead you in the swearing in. You both just need to come up here.
Swear you in one at a time. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joy Yin, do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully serve as the ex officio student board member of the Suffern Central School District Board of Education. Okay. In accordance with the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of New York. The laws of the State of New York. And the policies of the Suffern Central School District. To the best of my ability. I will fairly represent the interests and concerns of my fellow students with integrity, honesty, and dedication. I pledge to uphold the values of our school community, to listen with an open mind, and to contribute thoroughly to discussions. I recognize the importance of my role in advising and informing the board on matters affecting students. I will strive to be a positive role model and leader.
I will strive to be a positive role model and leader.
Setting an example of respect, responsibility,
Setting an example
of responsibility, and civic engagement for my peers. I will perform my duties to the best of my ability, always striving to enhance the educational experience for all. Congratulations. Now, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Robert Schwartz,
I, Robert Schwartz,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully serve
that I will faithfully serve
as ex officio student board member
as ex officio student board member
of the Suffern Central School District Board of Education,
of the Suffern Central School District Board of Education,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the laws of the State of New York,
the laws of the State of New York,
and the policies of the Suffern Central School District,
and the policies of the Suffern Central School District,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I will fairly represent
I will fairly represent
the interests and concerns of my fellow students
the interests and concerns of my fellow students
with integrity, honesty, and dedication.
with integrity, honesty, and dedication.
I pledge to uphold
I pledge to uphold
the values of our school community,
the values of our school community,
to listen with an open mind,
to listen with an open mind,
and to contribute thoroughly to discussions.
and to contribute thoroughly to discussions.
I recognize the importance of my role
I recognize the importance of my role
in advising and informing the board
in advising and informing the board
on matters affecting students.
on matters affecting students.
I will strive to be a positive role model and leader,
I will strive to be a positive role model and leader,
setting an example of respect, responsibility,
setting an example of respect, responsibility,
and civic engagement for my peers.
and civic engagement for my peers.
I will perform my duties
I will perform my duties
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
always striving to enhance
always striving to enhance
the educational experience for all.
the educational experience for all.
Congratulations. Good job.
So I find it very interesting for two non-voting board members. I think your oath was probably 3 times as long as regular board members, right? Like that was impressive. The length of dedication that you have to proclaim to the Suffern Central School District, but we know that you're going to do a great job. So, in all seriousness, we are thrilled to have you on the Board of Education. And that being said, I'll ask one of you to push the button to turn on the microphone. Maybe move it a little bit closer to yourselves when you're giving the report, and you can swing that arm back and forth to whoever is speaking. And so now we'll turn it over to you for our student reports.
Hi, one, two. Hi, my name is Robert Schwartz. I'm a senior at Suffern High School. And I'm thrilled to be here. Are we all thrilled to not have summer? Are we all thrilled to be here? I am. So I'd like to thank Dr. Gunderson and the Board of Education for having us here today, and have a good night. So, school started on Thursday of last week, and of course, the big thing is with the phone policy. Per New York State law, students are not allowed to have their phones bell to bell, so 7:30 a.m. to 2:05 p.m., as opposed to the pouches where students were forced to just put their phone in the pouch and then just get it at the end of class and have it at lunch. So far what I've seen is heightened student engagement in class. Lunch, the aim is so far, is what I've seen, is to be more social. And it's a little too early, but I think that we've improved on sociability. So far, I think the policy's gone pretty decent so far. So we've had our grade level assemblies on Monday and Tuesday, seniors and juniors yesterday, and sophomores and freshmen today, where Dr. Adler went over expectations for the school year, attendance, and other objectives that we are expected to meet this year. So club meetings are starting to become more common. Sports are starting up. Tomorrow we have a USO meeting for anyone who wants to join or currently existing USO members, and fall play auditions for anyone wanting to be involved in Clue. So that's fun. And I'll hand it over to Joy.
Last week and this week, sports activities started again at Suffern High School. At Suffern Middle School, last Friday, the first football game occurred where many students came to support the team. This Friday, the football team plays again against John Jay East Fishkill in a home game at Suffern Middle School. Boys soccer also won against Pearl River yesterday, so good job to that team as well. This Saturday, September 13th, the SAT exam will be offered at Suffern High School for our juniors and seniors. Good luck to everybody who is registered. Next Tuesday, September 16th, Meet the Teacher Night is happening at Suffern High School at 7 p.m. And before that, 9th grade families will be able to meet with their guidance counselors at around 6:15 p.m. College visits are also starting Monday, September 21st, and TVs already have running lists of what colleges are visiting, and students will have the opportunity to meet with representatives from different colleges before applying and consider their options. HOCO tickets are also starting this week of September 21st, with our homecoming dance being on October 4th. Thank you.
All right, that was excellent. Thank you so much. And that was a great job also on that really long oath. If you ever decide to just run to be a regular school board member, the oath is like a fifth as long as that. So that's good. But very, very good student board member report. Do you have anything else or should I continue on?
No, I have a superintendent's report, but when you're ready for that.
Minutes first. Yep. All right. Okay. Next on the agenda is minutes of the regular meeting of August 26, 2020. I think that should be 2025. So we're just going to do a little quick amendment there. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Yes? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Mr. Shapiro, second. Mrs. Bryan, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Superintendent's comments.
Thank you very much. We're just trying to work out the beginning of school year kinks. And of course, I forgot one of the most important questions. So just when you thought you were off and you could relax a little bit, I forgot to ask you to introduce yourselves to the Suffern Central community and tell us a little bit about yourself. So Robbie, you want to go ahead and start off?
So my name's Robert Schwartz. I go by Robbie, but if you call me Robert, I'll only be a little really mad. That's all. So I'm involved in a lot of clubs regarding music and sports. I played football for 5 years, and I also joined the crew team coming off a Rockland Cup championship win for boys and girls. And I also do a lot of music and drama activities. I've been in the Suffern marching band since 7th grade. I was in the pit orchestra for the spring musical in 9th and 10th grade, but I've done the cast since 11th grade. I joined the fall play this year. I'll be auditioning tomorrow for Clue. I also do select choir and brass choir and jazz band. I play the trumpet, I sing, and I also play the piano on the side. And I also was invited to All-State for voice on the weekend of December 4th, this upcoming year. Thank you.
Nice. And now you're an ex officio board member as well. So add that to
to
your resume. Yeah, that's right. Joy, how about you?
Hi, I'm Joy. I'm also a senior at Suffern High School. Like Robbie, I'm also a little involved in music. I play piano outside of school, but mostly I am involved in our athletics as well. I am on the varsity cross country and track and field teams. And outside of athletics, I am co-founder and co-president of the Asian American Cultural Club at Suffern High School, as well as co-vice president of our DECA chapter and co-president of our Best Buddies chapter.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Joy. To begin my superintendent's report, I just want to say that we've had an incredibly smooth opening to the school year. I couldn't be more happy with the smooth operation of each of our schools. Our transportation issues have never been this low in the last 5 years. Of course, that does not mean things are perfect, but we have had a very smooth opening with regards to transportation overall. Our elementary schools were humming on the first day. If you recall back a year ago, it was our first day of the elementary school restructuring. We can check the box and say we are now officially restructured. This is normal operations for us now, and you could tell. Teachers were comfortable, students were more comfortable, parents were more comfortable. Of course, every school had its set of new students and new parents as well, but it was really a nice difference to see things moving very smoothly. We have our new Suffern Middle School schedule in place, which we're very excited about, which is going to offer students a variety of additional opportunities for enrichment, as well as some basic skills support to get them really personalized to what their needs are. Our student reps mentioned the new cell phone policy, which has been in place in our elementary schools and our middle schools for quite some time, but it's new to the high school. And I just had a conversation with Dr. Adler today to see from his perspective how things were going, and he couldn't compliment the teachers and the students enough for recognizing that this is something that we have to do. They're doing it, and we're starting to see some of the positive benefits. So it's great. We have a huge logistical operation that took place throughout last year and this summer, and that was rolling over into a new, more modernized student information system where we are going to see the benefits. We've already seen some of the benefits of this student information system already, but we are going to be rolling out more and more features of this new, what we call SIS, that'll benefit students and parents getting more timely information about student performance, attendance, grades, you name it. And it's going to allow us to analyze data in a much more efficient manner. So we're excited about that. That's the Synergy system. We also been trying to finalize our blueprint, otherwise another word for strategic plan. I want to thank the 70 some odd community members that came out a few weeks ago to meet in this room here to provide their feedback. Everyone who's submitted their thoughts on Thought Exchange back in the spring, and our administrative team just met with our facilitator just yesterday to begin to finalize action plans for how we can put this blueprint into play. And I'll be very excited to share what that blueprint looks like to the school board and community, hopefully by our next meeting. And of course, with the beginning of school and athletics, I was out there on some of the fields today. What a beautiful day for some competitions and Mountie Pride. We also have our Meet the Teacher Nights coming up. So that starts off tomorrow with Cherry Lane, followed by 6th grade, and so on and so forth. We'll be having all sorts of parents walking through the buildings, seeing how great it is to be a Suffern Central Mountie. And thus concludes my superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you very much. All kinds of great developments. We are now going to move on to the second of our public participation sections tonight. This is on action items only. Action items are on our agenda tonight at 2.01 through 2.14. Is there anyone who is here from the public to speak specifically on an action item? Okay, looks like not, so we're going to close that portion of the meeting and move on to our action items. Prior to asking for a consent agenda, is there any item that any board member would like to pull?
Yes, I'd like to pull 2.14, please.
Okay, 2.14. Anybody else? Okay, all right. In that case, do I have a motion for a consent agenda to approve items 2.01 through 2.13?
Moved.
Mrs. Hodge, second. Mr. Andert, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Moving on to item number 2.14. Do I have a motion to open this item up? Mr. Shapiro, second. Ms. Bryan, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oh, just for discussion. Okay. Yes. And discussion on 2.14. Mrs. Hodge.
I don't have any issue or concern with the majority of the code of conduct. but to no one's surprise, at least in this room, I'm sure, I do have some concerns with 5300.25, the dress code, and not even all of it, just certain parts of it that I believe could use some attention and perhaps adjustments with language, primarily the opening paragraph, where it's referred to teachers and all other district personnel should exemplify, fine, and reinforce acceptable student dress. I think the word acceptable is vague. It's open to interpretation. I think it's troubling in the regard of it being like part of an actual code of conduct. And then to follow that teachers and staff should help students develop an understanding of, again, appropriate appearance, which I believe is it is in fact undefined and vague and open to interpretation. Then numbers 2 and 3, I would like to see adjusted, with the language associated. Number 2, it refers to extremely brief, which again is open to interpretation, undefined. It's a lot of responsibility on teachers and staff to make the determination of what is in fact appropriate in a school setting. And then number 2, again, number 2 refers to extremely brief and see-through garments. I could wear a tank top and then like maybe a see-through top over it. So I think that could use some adjustment in the language. And then number 3, underwear is completely covered. A bra strap could accidentally be showing, or, maybe a waistband or something like that. So I'm not particularly fond of number 3 either. Mostly it's the vague, undefined definitions of what's appropriate and acceptable. And just to follow with the extremely brief, we all know, statistically speaking, and based on articles that are in somewhat of an abundance, that girls of color, girls that develop earlier than other girls, and girls that are overweight are disproportionately targeted, and really girls in general. So although the rest of the code of conduct seems appropriate, and even the rest of the dress code I think seems fine, those are my reasons why I'm going to vote no.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Questions from board members? Okay, thank you. All right. Anything else? Okay, we're going to close discussion then and take a vote. All in favor of approving 2.14, which is the 2025-2026 Code of Conduct, signify by saying aye. 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 Mr. Shapiro?
I abstain.
You're abstaining. Okay. And Ms. Hodge?
No.
No. And is that to the entire Code of Conduct or just to 5300.25?
If it could be just for the 5300.25, then yes. That's my only no.
Okay. Mr. Shapiro?
I'm abstaining because of this section. Because if this section probably should have been cleaned up,
Mm-hmm.
and it probably was.
I think Dr. Gunderson has some comments.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully I can answer some of the questions here. So at our last meeting, when we introduced that we were going to be having to do the yearly task of approving the code of conduct, the code of conduct is essential for our building administrators to be able to rely on when they are making sure that students are upholding certain standards. And so I want to be careful that we are not just looking at one particular policy that a group of board members may take issue with, because that is something that we can, and in this particular case with the dress code policy, we've been talking about for quite some time, and now we are in the last portion of our data analysis or data collection phase for the dress code. If the board recalls, the policy committee has been tasking particularly the middle school and the high school administration with keeping track of students who have been quote unquote dress coded, so we can analyze the data and then determine as a policy committee how we want to change the language of that policy. I would like us to maintain that position that we've started with, that we've told our building administrators we were going to be doing, and finish that study at the end of the warm season, if you will, and adjust the language accordingly. But until then, until the policy committee potentially changes anything after looking at that data and has a first reading and a second reading, we really need to rely on our code of conduct. So as I said in the last meeting, I've given permission to our building administrators to address students who have been quote unquote dress coded from an administrative standpoint. Teachers are not involved and we are collecting data so we can analyze this. If we don't approve a code of conduct tonight based on an ongoing study, that is going to be problematic for our building administrators. And Mr. Shapiro, you recall being a building administrator, you need to be able to rely on this set of rules. And those set of rules have been deviated a little bit based on my permission and the support of the policy committee for the dress code. So I would ask the board to reconsider and approve the code of conduct so our schools can function. And in due time, I think Ms. Hodge has brought up this on a number of occasions, has some very good points that I know the policy committee is addressing. But let's go through the proper channels in changing that policy.
Are we unable to vote yes on the rest of the code of conduct and only no on?
No, it's all or nothing. We need to be able to operate. And as I've indicated at the last meeting, we have this, if we want to call it data collection, taking place right now. So that way, at the end of the warm season, when our policy committee meets, that is when the policy committee is going to determine, are we going to change the dress code policy or are we going to keep it the same? I'm assuming that the policy committee is going to adjust it, and then it will come to the Board of Education for a first and second reading, and then we'll be moving forward in the direction that the majority of the board wants to go in. But right now, we simply just need to approve that these are the rules that are taking place right now. And Ms. Hodge, as I've mentioned, we've tweaked the rules a little bit for the dress code policy to collect that data.
If I may add, I am inherently concerned that if this is an ongoing issue and has been brought up prior in previous discussions, how much of a tweak has been tweaked? One. Two, I would prefer a definitive date versus an up in the air, airy-fairy version of when it's warm season is over, for when this can be addressed. Three, my question, can administration use this grandfathered in code of conduct to conduct activities and the board still vote no on the existing as is version? I find it problematic to say yes to an entire document and have that be law and not have any sort of fixed remedy provided moving forward to say, this is the timeline, something's going to happen as of this date, we're going to address this by the next board meeting, this will be completely cleaned up for us to move forward with. So
I recognize your point. I can certainly provide the board with a specific date when I can bring this to the policy committee. But remember, the policy committee has not, to this date, said that they want to change this policy. We have to go through the proper channels, and it's the policy committee of the Board of Education that needs to make the directive to me to change the policy. So to vote no for the code of conduct at this point is putting our building administrators in a difficult spot, and it's also not going through the proper channels. So we can call for a policy committee meeting for next week. We can call one for tomorrow or 2 days from now if we'd like, because we have to give 48 hours notice. We can certainly do that, but it still takes the policy committee to tell me what you want to change differently, because policy is something that the board does decide. Tell me what the policy should read, and then we move forward with a first and second reading. But that does differ from what the directive of the policy committee was at our last meeting in the spring, which was keep collecting this data, because not that much data was really collected where students were being dress coded. So we were looking to collect more data throughout the fall season so that the policy committee could make the appropriate changes. But we can speed that process up.
What's the
I just
timeline?
need a code of conduct in order to operate the schools.
What's the timeline for data collection to end?
We'd agreed that it was going to be through the warm season. So I can see your point about a specific date. I can put out a specific date as October 15th and say that's when our window will close, and then we'll convene the policy committee right after that.
Okay, any other comments? No? Okay.
Well, yes.
Yes? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I now will vote in favor, but it is this part of the code of conduct must be addressed. And if October 15th, I mean, that's, trying to think if that's a football game that weekend or something. No, that's the middle of the week, I think. I think that's fine, but I think that we should call a policy committee meeting within 48 hours or certainly, very soon, and start working on, on the language and what we're really trying to say in terms of what this dress code should be. And Jen, I don't know if you're on that committee or not. Okay. Are you on that committee too? No. Well,
I am.
oh, well, you are now. Okay. I'm on that committee too. Hi, everybody. I guess I'm on that committee. Okay. So, So my days are free, or my evenings are free, and Again, I just want to reiterate, I appreciate that. I want to reiterate the fact that we really can't vote. We can, but to vote no on a code of conduct, even if you're voting no because you disagree in principle with what the dress code policy is in that code of conduct, then we're not voting on what the alternative is. So what will the dress code policy be? Even if we were to agree tonight uniformly, it would go outside the process that the policy committee is supposed to be the one determining this and then bringing it to the board. But let's say the board said, we're going to figure this out tonight in a meeting. We still have to go through a first reading so that the public then can have a voice, a second reading so the public can have a voice. And until then, we have no code of conduct. So that's why I completely respect and in many cases agree with the points that are being brought up about the dress code. And that's why the dress code policy is being reviewed right now. But we need to continue to have a set of laws to be operating under. Right.
Madam Chairwoman, what is the standard for approving an issue like this until October board meeting and have it revisited again and up for vote again in the October meeting? Like, can the policy be approved for an interim so that administration is not left in the lurch, but still make a point of it that certain members of this board wants action on this clause, effective post information from the data that's being collected.
Yeah, so the code of conduct is basically saying it's giving a check to the building administrators that you're able to operate under these set of rules. Whenever the board, after they have the second reading and they approve any new policy in the code of conduct or any policy in the district, but specifically to the code of conduct automatically changes. So as soon as there's a positive vote for whatever the changes are to the dress code policy, we don't have to go back out for another vote on approving the code of conduct. If mid-year we're changing any of those policies, as long as it goes through a first reading and a second reading, then it's in play.
So it's up to the policy committee to have this expedited for, hypothetically, Ms. Hodge, October, November, December board meeting? Hypothetically, if the policy committee expedites all of this? Hypothetically?
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Hodge?
The sooner the better.
The policy committee could tell me, let's have a meeting ASAP. And you could say, forget the data collection, forget the input from the administration that they're, the data that they're gathering. This is what we want to form and we want to go out for a first reading at the next board meeting. You can do that too. So you can really move this forward as long as the 2 out of the 3 members of the policy committee are in agreement to bring it to the board. And then of course, the board has to have a majority vote to vote in favor of that revised policy.
For clarity, and I apologize for my noviceness in terms of this, what are the repercussions to administration if this is not approved today?
Then all the rules that pertain to students are not intact. So if we issue discipline on any student, then a student or a parent can challenge that decision and say, well, that's not what the Board of Education has said. So it can be any sort of disciplinary action doesn't get carried forward.
Is that because the code of conduct has expired?
It has not been approved, correct. And in addition to that, remember, we don't issue consequences for dress code violations right now, right? And Ms. Hodge, you've been involved in these conversations and you've been supportive of what our temporary administrative override has been for this while we collect data, which is teachers are not to approach students about concerns about dress code, but they are to refer those concerns to the administration who's handled those sensitively, has collected data, and we've shared the data that we've collected with you.
Absolutely correct. No doubt. But there were 2 separate lanes. One is the enforcement of the dress code, which is being addressed with this process, which is great, but it still doesn't, we still haven't addressed the problematic dress code itself. I appreciate what the administration has done and is doing with regard to enforcement of the dress code, where teachers and staff are not to mention a girl's body or clothing on the spot in the moment because it doesn't feel good, and that it should be enforced in a different way at this point in which that staff brings it to the administration, et cetera. And that is fine. However, the other lane is the problematic dress code itself. So yes, you're correct. I have been part of that. And on the policy committee, since I've been on the board and I've been hoping to address these vague, undefined statuses or what wording, from day one.
Yes, you have been adamant on that. Absolutely.
I think perhaps some of the difficulty here is that the schedule to approve the code of conduct is different than the schedule of the policy committee and the schedule for data gathering. And so these things are falling at different times, which is causing a problem for people who would like to see more information or more policies changed before the code of conduct is approved. But the code of conduct is a substantial document and it does pertain also to attendance and discipline and building safety and a number of other matters that are also crucial to the operation of the schools. And we do need 4 votes to approve the code of conduct for it to be approved tonight. I would also add that, during the school year, policies are reviewed. If laws change, if there's directives that come down from the governor or from the New York State School Boards Association. So while we approve this version right now so that the schools can operate, it doesn't mean that we don't reconsider certain policies as the situation changes or as we receive advice from other organizations that we need to take a look at those. So it does not keep the board from continuing to work on the dress code policy. And I know that many board members have been anxious to see improvement, revision, better language, any number of things. And these are very well-founded objections and very reasonable objections to the way the policy is written. Unless we have any more comment, I think it would be good to take a vote on the code of conduct so that the district can move forward and the schools can operate, with the caveat that we're all aware that there are objections to the dress code policy as written, that it's not being enforced as written, that it is being enforced according to what Dr. Gunderson has advised principals and assistant principals to do, and that the policy committee will be meeting very shortly to decide what the final version should be and then present that to the board for comment and approval. Does that sound good? Okay, all right. All in favor of approving 2.14 Code of Conduct signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, anyone opposed? Any abstentions?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm opposed.
Okay, very well. All right, opposed from Ms. Hodge. So we do have 4 votes in favor, so the matter is approved. Okay, this concludes our action items, and we're going to move on to 3.01, which is board member comments. Do any board members have any comments tonight? Brian.
Quick question. The agenda remained as is?
The action items?
From our last email, Ms. Dr. Gunderson? Because I literally, our action items 1, 2 to 2.13, I made a note in our email.
Yes, you're talking about the architectural
Right.
approvals? Yes, those were removed yesterday. I sent an email this afternoon to the board, letting the board know that the contract was not,
So it's here.
it should
Everything
not
is
be
still
on there.
here.
That's an outdated printout then. I apologize for that.
Okay.
Yes, those architectural contracts were not finalized yet. As many members of the Board of Education know, but I'll share with the public. We have gone out for requests for proposals from architectural firms to talk about a potential bond referendum work. And so we were expecting to have that contract for the architectural firm that was that won the RFP. But there were some last minute details that our attorney felt needed to be addressed. So we decided to pull back on the approval for the contract, as well as for the who was going to be awarded the RFP. So those 2 were pulled back. I expect to have those on at the next board meeting.
So if that's the case, and my second point in my email addressed the incorrect agreement date for LearnWell, then action 2.05 as well should be pulled until that agreement contract date for payment terms is fixed.
Yeah, so when you emailed me, I emailed the full board to let them know, and
Yeah.
you know that there was a mistake there, that we were changing it. I think it said in there 2025, and it should be 2026.
Okay,
So we've made that change, and it's been updated on board docs.
thank you.
And yes, I recognize that you have a paper copy there, that you don't have a device in front of you, but it's been updated, so anybody in the public can see that that's been updated.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from any board members? Mr. Shapiro.
Yes. I keep on forgetting to put this on. Can you hear me without this? Okay. People at home. Oh, I'm sorry, the people at home. You should be here. Just about the lower Hudson Educational Coalition survey, which all the board members should have received. It's very important that you fill that out. Rockland County is part of LHEC, which is Westchester, Rockland, Dutchess, Orange, and Putnam. And Westchester is a very large county, but whenever this survey comes out, Rockland County has about 85 to 90% of its board members who fill out the survey, while I think Westchester is probably somewhere between 40 and 50%, which shows you that we're better than Westchester. And Orange County hadn't been part of it, but now they are. But please, as my fellow board members, please make sure that you do fill out that survey. It'll probably take you approximately 10 minutes. There were some very important issues there that they're asking you about, and if you feel that it's important towards Suffern, please mark it as such. And that's my comment. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Joy and Robbie, welcome to the board. And it's a pleasure to have you guys here. And I'm glad that we have a crew member and a track and field member. It's good to have. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other board member comments? Ms. Hodge.
Yes, I'd like to welcome Robbie and Joy too. We're so happy to have you here sitting up at the dais rather than the old days where our student representative sat and ran out after, which was fine. But we're happy to have you up here with us and joining the team. So welcome.
Okay, any comments from our student board members tonight? No? Okay, that's fine. All right. Yes, welcome. My welcome extends to you as well. We're happy to have you here. And thank you from the comments from all of our other board members tonight. It's been a great summer. If you've been following along with anything in the news, you might see that the Challenger Center awarded us a very substantial amount of money to the district, as well as equipment. So we should hopefully see that going into place this year. We had our cell phone policy covered by LOHUD. So all kinds of good things in the news about Suffern, which has been great. And that concludes my comments. We are now going to move on to the public participation part of this meeting. This is our third public participation section. This is on any district-related business. If you are here to speak about any district-related business, please approach the lectern. Please give us your name. Please do not speak about any staff member, student, teacher, specifically by name in the district. And please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone who is here to speak from the public on any district-related business? Yes, ma'am. Please approach the lectern over there. There's a microphone as well.
Hi, my name is Narav Lalouche. I just wanted to bring to the board's attention that we're having some struggles with busing for non-public school transportation. So in our private school and most of the private schools, we have different dismissal times at a few times a day. So the transportation is only providing busing for one time a day per school. So that means that even parents who work full time, we have to be transporting our kids back and forth at different times a day. So we're asking if you can, I don't know if it's a widespread issue, but if it's not, maybe we can have like a smaller van that could take care of that issue. So we don't have parents, we got over the summer, but now we're like back to like, a double job now of working full time and then having to bus our kids back and forth at 3 o'clock, at 5:30 at different times. So if you can do anything about it, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Falouche. Is there anyone else who is here to speak from the public on any district-related business? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Getty Tarnower. I'm nowhere near as eloquent as you guys. Nobody's staring at me. It's making me nervous. But it's about the busing again. I just want to give you guys an example of what a day looks like for me. And I don't even work full time. I have a daughter who's 10. My son is 6. My baby's 3. We live on a cul-de-sac, so the buses don't come in. My 2 big ones have 2 different busing times, which means that we're at the corner with all 3 kids for close to an hour. Then I have to go drive through all the traffic and drop my son off. And I don't know if you've ever been with a 3-year-old in a car. It's not fun. So what ends up happening is my husband takes my son to school, and then we have to pick him up because he gets dismissed at 3 and not at 4 when school has busing times. It's a mess, and I know I'm not the only one. I don't know why there are more people here, but everybody I talk to is just really struggling. And I get that there's so much logistics involved, and I'm sure that this is not the first time you guys are hearing about this. I do want to suggest if we can maybe just something small, let the parents track the buses, because if we have to be waiting at the bus stop, and then Suffern gives the buses like a 20-minute window, it makes things really difficult. Whereas if we knew when the bus would come, we can just head out 2 minutes before that. Sorry, I'm just gonna look through my. And as far as the cul-de-sac as well, I know this has been probably brought up like ad nauseum. My cul-de-sac in particular, the stop is on Route 202, which is really unsafe. My street is curved, which means that cars can't see if my daughter's walking. There's also no sidewalk, so she'll have to walk on neighbors' lawns. I'm not even talking about the animals and all that stuff. And the bus drivers come in past our house and make U-turn and go back out, every single one of them. There was this story last year where it was pouring rain, it was freezing cold. The bus driver dropped my daughter off at the corner, and she had to walk home while the bus driver passed my house. It's just little things that probably are not even logistically that difficult to figure out. I feel like with the cul-de-sac thing, for the sake of efficiency, maybe the families on that street can vote where the stop should be. Because if it's at the corner versus in the middle of the street, I'm saying it's the same amount of time efficiency-wise. But yeah, that's all right. That was a little disjointed, but thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who's here to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Ricky Nyman. Nice to meet you all here tonight. So very similar to what you've heard before, there are a lot of transportation issues, very lengthy bus rides. The kids are on the bus for an hour plus. One of my neighbors, the kid was on the bus for 2 hours since the onset of transportation. I know you mentioned that transportation has gone very well without a glitch, maybe for the public school students, but not for the private school students. So I think that should be fixed. I think that the maximum bus rides for the kids should be up to 45 minutes and not an hour, definitely not 2. So that's a very big concern. And the second one is also the staggered dismissals. Our school has different timings of when the students begin. Some students begin at 7:30, others at 9, and then dismissals are from 3 and on, and our kids are dismissed at several times. So I think that they should be provided with more than one bus, not just the 4 o'clock dismissal. They should have 3 and at 5:30. Those are my 2 boys. I don't have transportation for either one of them. I have a 3, I have a 5:30, and I have all the little kids at home, and I'm just constantly running to school to pick them up every day. It's much. So those are my 2 concerns, and I would like for them to be addressed and help. I would like for you to help us. It's very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here to speak on any matter, any district-related matter? Okay, we're going to close that portion of the meeting. Thank you very much to all of our speakers tonight. And we're going to move to superintendent's closing comments. Just for point of clarification on the architectural bid award, that item is empty, correct, on the agenda? Okay, because there was nothing to include. Okay, very well. So there really wasn't anything that we approved because there was no item there. Okay, superintendent's closing comments.
Thank you very much. I would like to comment a couple things on transportation. So first of all, if you can make sure that Ms. Heather Campbell, our district clerk, has your name and phone number, we'll make sure that somebody reaches out to you this week to talk about your specific challenges that you're facing. I would like to remind the folks here and the board and the public that the school district has been making significant strides to work with the non-public community to improve busing services for schools. We have, I don't know the exact number right now, but we have an ever-growing number of private schools that have contracted with the school district to provide their own transportation to students, in part because the policy of the Board of Education is that we have one drop-off and one pickup. Like was referenced before. But many of our non-public schools have as many as 3 different pickup and drop-off times. So by partnering with the private schools where they're able to provide their own transportation, those private schools are able to accommodate more of those start and end times. But I look forward to having conversations with each of the 3 people here. Somebody from the district office will be in touch with you to get specific information about your particular struggles so we can see if there's anything that we can do to address those. So thank you very much for coming out tonight. And finally, I just want to mention that our ex officio board members are not only responsible for representing the viewpoints of the high school students, but also the middle school and the elementary schools, which may seem like a huge and is a huge task. We're going to make it manageable for them so they don't have to make visits to each of the schools. But I'm going to be working with the principals to determine how student leaders in each of those schools are able to access you if they have a particular topic that they would like to have brought up here at a board meeting, or if you're looking for feedback from students at the elementary or the middle school, how you can go about that. So we'll establish some mechanisms for that in the coming days. All right, this concludes my superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next meeting will be September 30th, right back here in Hilburn, and we'll be welcoming our new staff members at that meeting, which is always a really wonderful thing to meet and welcome them all in person by the Board of Education. So at this time, do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Mrs. Hodge, second. Mr. Shapiro, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, very well. We will see everyone back here on September 30th. Thank you.